The man only wanted to take his wife on their honeymoon, but the car suddenly accelerated on its own. He had not even touched the gas pedal. As the speed kept climbing, he slammed on the brakes, trying to slow down, but nothing happened. The parking brake was somehow jammed. Even the key snapped in half. The car drifted off its original route. He had no choice but to take a sharp turn at high speed. Thankfully, the car finally began to slow down. The woman let out a sigh of relief. The man quickly pulled over to the side of the road. He opened the hood and found the engine completely ruined. The two of them felt utterly unlucky. They were in the middle of nowhere. Hardly any cars passed through this area. If they wanted help, they had to find a phone first, so they decided to walk and see what they could find. They eventually came across a narrow path. At the end of it stood a hidden wooden door. The woman thought it might lead to the main road. But when they reached the end, there was only an unlocked iron gate. The man heard children's voices nearby. His guard immediately dropped. If someone lived here, there was probably a phone. This seemed to be the back entrance of a house. The woman hoped the front door would face the main road. An older woman slowly opened the door. After learning their car had broken down, she told them there was a phone inside. She then invited them in.
Is there a road on the other side of the house?
A road, dear?
Yes, well, I mean, I'm sure we must have come a long way round.
Bless you, dear, there's no other road round these parts. Come along, follow me.
Not only that, there was no repair shop anywhere nearby. The closest town was far away. The man began searching for phone numbers. The woman wandered toward the fireplace. She was even offered a glass of homemade wine. The older woman smiled and said her husband grew everything himself, including fresh vegetables and fruit. They lived a completely self-sufficient life. To give the children more meat, they also raised a flock of sheep. The woman then heard a noise behind a door. She curiously asked how many children there were. The older woman thought for a moment, and said 8. Not all of them were hers. Some were from her husband's previous marriage. Others were adopted. The woman found that intriguing, but the older woman did not elaborate. Instead, she offered to make her some lamb soup. Meanwhile, the man finished his phone call. When he turned around, he saw 2 cute little girls. They quickly ran away. The older woman explained that they were shy. The man felt even more frustrated. The tow truck would not arrive until tomorrow. He went back to the car to get their belongings. The older woman suggested they stay the night. She said the room in the tower was always ready for guests. The woman thanked her for the kindness. Just then the children came out. She greeted them warmly. A dark-haired girl stared at her coldly. Then a light, cheerful flute melody echoed through the house. The girl invited her to meet her brother. Curious, the woman agreed. After walking down a corridor, she found all the children gathered together.
It's getting dark outside.
Just as she was wondering what was going on, a sharp camera shutter clicked. The little girl suddenly took her picture. She smiled mysteriously. A boy stared at her without blinking. After only a few seconds of eye contact, the woman realized all the children had disappeared. Only the flute remained on the floor. She hurried back down the corridor. There was no one there either. A photograph of a young woman hung on the wall. A shadow suddenly flashed behind her. She quickly turned to look. In the end, she decided not to go upstairs. When she turned around, the older woman was smiling strangely. She told her to wait patiently in the living room. Her husband would be back soon. The woman felt that something was terribly wrong. Using an excuse, she stepped outside to look for him. It was already getting dark. She retraced her steps from memory. At that moment, the man was running toward her. It looked like something was chasing him. He grabbed his wife and pulled her inside. He could barely explain what had happened. Once they were back in the house, he pointed outside in terror. When he had approached the car, a strange half-human creature appeared. It was covered in grayish-white fur. It even bit him. That was not a human sound. And its eyes were yellow. The older woman said he must have been frightened. It was probably just an angry stag. They were highly territorial. The woman hugged her husband tightly. She believed the older woman was right. Reluctantly, the man admitted he might have been mistaken. They later had a hearty dinner, including delicious lamb soup. Seeing the children gathered by the fireplace, the woman asked about the little girl's mother.
That's my mum in a photograph.
She's pretty.
She was pretty.
The answer implied that she was dead. The woman was stunned. Suddenly, howls echoed from outside. Everything felt even more terrifying. She mentioned the sound to the older woman. The older woman brushed it off. insisting it was only dogs barking. She then led them to their room. Before leaving, she asked them to stay inside until morning. The children liked to wander at night. Going outside might frighten them. She closed the door behind her. The man tried to lighten the mood, but before long the older woman returned with their luggage.
How did you get these?
Tibor and the other children went down to the car to fetch them.
Surely you don't let them go out into the woods alone.
Bless you, dear. There's nothing in them woods that my children need be afraid of.
The woman was puzzled. Did the children not sleep? The older woman said of course they did. But tonight was special. She and her husband had Hungarian roots. They were celebrating a traditional holiday. The man asked if it was like Christmas Eve. She replied that it was something similar. Then she left again. The woman felt even more suspicious. The older woman feared they might scare the children. Yet she did not mind the children roaming in the woods. That did not make sense. The man noticed a gold bracelet. It seemed out of place in this house. He wondered who had stayed in this room before. The woman did not understand what he meant. The man was not sure either. That creature was definitely not a stag. And the sound earlier was not a dog. It had been a wolf's howl. He thought again about the Hungarian holiday. What if tonight was a full moon? The tense atmosphere cracked slightly. The woman realized he was trying to scare her. She pulled back the curtain to prove him wrong. She screamed instantly. A werewolf was crouching outside the window. The man rushed over, but there was nothing there. They only heard the front door being locked. No matter how hard they twisted the handle, it would not open. The only way out now was through the window. The woman had a bad feeling. She begged her husband to stay with her, but he insisted on finding out the truth. He promised to return within 10 minutes. Carefully he climbed down. Suddenly the doorknob began to turn. Under the woman's terrified gaze, a creature slowly approached. The older woman and the children watched with cruel smiles. Then they shut the door again. Hearing something, the man tried to climb back up, but his hand slipped and he fell. Inside the house, only the sound of wolves howling remained. The man later woke up in a hospital. His wife had only minor injuries, but she had been unconscious for hours. The doctors said it was a car accident. But the man did not remember any accident. He remembered the house and the older woman.
I think he must still be concussed.
I must have dreamt it. How extraordinary.
Dreamt what?
It's crazy, but there was this family of werewolves.
His wife laughed it off, saying the medication must have caused hallucinations. After a day of observation, they rented another car and continued their honeymoon. Their previous car was completely totaled. The man still felt unsettled. His wife seemed different. A co-worker thought the spark in their marriage had faded, but the truth was the opposite. His wife was now far more passionate. She was no longer as gentle and reserved as before. The co-worker said that was normal. They had just survived a terrible accident. That eased the man's doubts somewhat. He then asked if his co-worker had ever had a concussion. It turned out he had. He had served in the Royal Parachute Regiment for 2.5 years. He had suffered a few concussions himself. The man asked if people dreamed while unconscious. His co-worker said no. When you are truly unconscious, you do not dream. The man's face darkened. Because of work he had to travel for several weeks. His wife did not get angry like before. Seeing that he seemed distant, she hugged him first. He pulled away slightly. She grew upset, accusing him of not loving her anymore. He barely touched his dinner that night. But it had been steak every night. Even his favorite meal could become tiresome. She quickly promised to cook something special when he returned. A few weeks later, she announced she was pregnant. The baby was already over 8 weeks along. She prepared a candlelit dinner. He eagerly began suggesting names. That was when he noticed she was not eating cooked food, but thin slices of raw fish. He became alert. When he mentioned the boy's name from before, she looked confused, as if she had never heard it. That night, she began preparing in advance. She packed a hospital bag. She also refused any further intimacy. The man was baffled. She was only 2 months pregnant. She kept emphasizing how important the baby was. Eventually he gave in. Several more weeks passed. He confided in his co-worker again. Not only was his wife acting strange, but the baby's growth was abnormally fast. All of this had started after the accident. Normally dreams fade after a few days. But he remembered every detail vividly. As if it had really happened, he rushed home without hesitation. The bag was gone. His wife was nowhere to be found. He knew exactly where she had gone. A boy opened the door to welcome her. She looked ready to give birth. Everyone was waiting outside, as if expecting a new member of the family. Meanwhile, the man sped down the road, constantly checking the map. The woman entered the familiar room. There on the table was a photograph of herself, and a wreath placed on the pillow. The man abandoned his car on the roadside. He found the small path again, from memory. 2 doors suddenly appeared before him. He chose the one on the left, but the house was nowhere to be seen. Just as he thought he had taken the wrong way, a hunter approached and greeted him. Night was falling. Was he lost?
Well, I'm looking for the entrance to an old track near here. The woman who lives there is called Ardoy. Ardoy?
The hunter said he had never heard of such a house. The forest stretched all the way to town. There were no hidden paths here, certainly no large house. But the man refused to give up. The hunter offered to help him search. The man casually asked about werewolf legends. The hunter paused. He said there were no such legends here. Only somewhere in Hungary. He did not elaborate. The man speculated aloud. If there were a werewolf here, why would it lure young women here to bear its children? Why raise them with a foster mother like that older woman? The hunter explained that wolves live in packs. The alpha wolf has multiple mates and many offspring. For werewolves it is the same. They share the same instincts. The man still had questions. The hunter answered calmly. When night falls, the young ones run through the forest, hunting sheep. They love lamb soup. By day they return to human form.
Surely any father would want his cubs to have a cheerful foster mother and a comfortable house, learn the graces which their human side needs for their happiness.
But one thing was missing. Where were the mothers? The man demanded an answer. The hunter's expression changed. It was completely dark now. The man realized the hunter was the same creature that had attacked him. He tried to run. The werewolf grabbed him with one hand and swung a sharp axe. A scream echoed through the forest. Inside the house, the older woman held a newborn baby. A girl walked to the bed and gently covered the woman's face. Another photograph was added, just like the ones of all the other mothers.